Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys inspiration, motivation, and a ton of tips to help you guys on your fitness journey. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about competition-specific fueling because it's been pretty awesome seeing how many of my clients, how many people in the CrossFit community, beginners, intermediate, advanced people are out there just like throwing down either at local competitions, getting ready for, they're doing qualifiers to qualify for bigger competitions. Or maybe you even have aspirations of making it further in this sport. And I'm going to speak specifically more to the local competition, the two-day, one-day things that typically happen on the weekend that you guys might need some strategies for in terms of what you should be eating, how you should be timing things out, and just hopefully giving you some clarity on that stuff. So if you get any value out of this episode, this is helpful for you, please shoot me over a message or a DM to let me know that you are listening, that you enjoyed this. And if you want more details, I do have a competition nutrition guide that I can send you over. So shoot me a message and I will send that over to you as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, what I want to start by talking to you guys about is that it can be really easy to get stressed about nutrition around your competition because the competition already brings a level of anxiety. You know, like you're going to be in front of people. Obviously there's a lot of pressure to perform a certain way, and the nutrition is just one more thing. But what's so important is for you guys to have confidence that if you're competing, you likely are working out pretty regularly. So you know how your body feels on a regular basis when you're about to work out. What you might not know is how your body is going to respond to multiple workouts in a day, or even over the course of a weekend. The most important thing that I want to start with is telling you guys not to change anything with your food on game day. So don't wait until the day of competition to decide to try new supplements out, to try new different food pairings, to try different things before you eat out or before you start your workouts. Don't do any of that stuff on game day. The better opportunity for you to get more out of your competition day fueling would be to actually program in 1 or 2 simulation comp days leading up to your competition. So for those of you guys that really want to take, like you're asking about nutrition on competition, this is how you get the most out of it. I would recommend maybe practicing on a weekend where you have a little bit more downtime and actually practicing kind of like doing a workout, cooling down, having to warm up again for another workout and cooling down. You know, I don't think you have to do 3 workouts if you don't have that kind of time. But if you did, you're really taking this serious, I would actually simulate competition day. But if you're just kind of doing it for recreational, I would at least get comfortable knowing what it feels like to eat, work out, eat or cool down, eat, work out, cool down. So you want to actually go through that experience. It's going to help you. And I would also look at the upcoming competition, looking at some of the workouts and kind of programming, your competition simulation days, maybe using some of those workouts or similar ones if you don't want to practice those same workouts, to give you guys an understanding of how you'll feel with that same level of intensity. So like example would be like a lift and then maybe a longer endurance piece, or if it's like 10-minute AMRAPs, you want to kind of be working in that simulation with the same type of strategy that you're going to be, or the same type of workouts that you're going to have on competition day. And the last thing here to kind of go as we get into things is like, when we're talking about dialing in nutrition for comp days, what matters most is your nutrition for the days, weeks, and months leading up to it. So if you're focusing on your competition training nutrition, you're already too late. So if you really do want to get most out of competition in CrossFit, again, whether you're just doing your first competition, you want to perform your best, you really want to make sure that your nutrition is handled ahead of time. This is the icing on the cake, and it matters most. If you're somebody who doesn't take time to dial in your nutrition for the other days of the week, it's not really going to matter that much for your competition. Like you're doing it for fun, so don't overstress it. I'm still going to give you some tips, but I just want you to understand that you should probably have a better understanding of what your body needs on a regular basis. And that's going to be much more beneficial for you on competition day than what you're actually eating on competition day, because that food on competition day isn't what's giving you energy for those workouts. It's typically just to help you recover for your next workout and to help you recover post competition. Last thing, I shouldn't say last thing. I said that. Did I already say last thing? Okay. Going over some basic things that you want to kind of think about as we're going into competition is I don't want you guys to overthink this. So even if I give specific like numbers with like grams of carbs and all that stuff, like don't overthink it, right? Like just know that your goal is to get in enough calories, enough fuel, and ensure that you are eating enough, and obviously not eating so much that you're getting sick. So having the right foods on hand. And then also considering if you have a single day competition versus a multiple day competition, because that also does matter in terms of what you're doing for fueling after the first day is over and going into that, first day. We want to make sure we're giving you enough energy to really top things off. Going into this, your main priority is really getting your glycogen stores topped off. And that's why I said like leading up to the competition, obviously getting your body more used to utilizing glycogen, that's going to happen over time in your training. So we want to make sure that nutrition is dialed in outside of that. Even if you have fat loss goals, or if you're just maintaining, you want to make sure that you understand like where your body is performing, where it's at right now with what kind of fuel is going in. So we know how to optimize that. And typically with my clients who are in a fat loss phase, I'll bring their calories up a little bit that week, for a couple of days just to help their glycogen levels be obviously topped off and ensure that they feel good. And usually after the competition for a couple of days just to help them recover. So let's get into the actual competition, how to fuel for your competition. And as I said, what matters most is not just the competition day. At that point, you're too late. So we're going to start by talking about the week before. All right. So the week before the competition, you are going to want to, if possible, you're going to want to check your heat times. You're going to want to know what times your workouts are at. That's going to help you plan your nutrition timing around your workouts. You're typically going to have usually 2 or 3 hours between workouts, but sometimes it might be a little bit shorter. Every once in a while, there might be one of those floater workouts that you have to kind of fit in after a workout. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that you know essentially what time you're going to be working out so you can plan your schedule of eating around your workout time. So you know that you have enough, energy to digest or time to digest it. And then when you might do something a little bit quicker. The day before your event, and I'm going to say this is stuff that's specific to those of you guys that are already dialed in with your nutrition. You're going to want to increase your carbohydrates by anywhere from 40 grams to 120 grams. And I like to say somewhere around 40 grams per event. That just gives you enough glycogen to really feel fueled. If you're somebody that's a lot of calories to add in on one day, which really isn't that much, it's about 400 calories, you can break it up into 2 days and go Thursday and Friday, knowing that you're likely going to be tapering on your workouts a little bit. So you're not going to deplete that glycogen, but you want to make sure that you're getting in some carbs. So if we're talking about foods and you're dialed in, but maybe you don't track your calories or your macros, maybe you're adding in, so 40 grams is about an extra, cup of rice. So you're really adding in maybe, it doesn't have to all be rice, but like 3 cups of rice. You're just adding maybe an extra starch, 3 extra starches that day. It could be a rice, could be potato, could be some popcorn, some cereal, whatever. You're just topping off those glycogen stores. The day of your competition, again, hoping that you know your heat times or about how many events you have so you kind of know how to space things out. I would stick to your normal breakfast, but keep the fiber a little bit lower and the fats down a little bit. This is really going to be your main meal for the day, aside from your dinner, because most of the time during the day, you're not going to have a lot of time to sit, eat, and digest. So you want this meal to be plenty of carbs, plenty of protein, a little bit of fat, a little bit lower in fiber, and getting in plenty of hydration as well. I should also note you should be hydrating in the days leading up to competition, just like you're doing with your carbohydrates. I would say that this meal should be something that you feel pretty confident that you've eaten plenty of times before working out, and also looking at the event to come. So if your first event is a strength event, you can actually have a little bit more calories, maybe have a little bit more fat, because you're not going to be doing something that's going to be like super glycolytic, where you're going to be, really needing to tap into those glycogen stores. Depending on what time your first workout is, 60 minutes prior to your first event, if it's been a little bit too long, I would have a little bit more carbs. Go ahead and top it off, unless it's, like I said, just a lift. But if it's going to be something glycolytic, go ahead and top it off with like 20 to 30 grams of carbs. This could be as simple as an applesauce packet, an apple or a banana, a little bit of dried fruit, or a fruit snack pack, whatever it is. And then that's really going to help you kind of just be a little bit more primed for that. That's really the most important thing for all of your workouts for that day and for your multiple days, that you're always just giving yourself a little bit of carbs beforehand. And this can be anywhere from like 10 to 30 grams of carbs. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch. If it's a longer event, maybe you're doing a little bit more. And then after your first event and after your events, you want to make sure that you're getting in somewhere between 10 and 30 grams of protein and another 20 to 60 grams of carbs. If you are somebody that if your schedule is like your post-workout is going to be in enough time to where your next workout's going to be pretty close, you probably won't have to do a post-workout and then another snack. You can probably get by with that post-workout kind of being intra-workout per se, because it's going to kind of be the post-workout from workout 1 and the pre-workout for workout 2, depending on it. But you want to make sure you get somewhere between 10 and 30 grams of protein and 20 to 60 grams of carbs. Could be like a protein shake and a carb drink. It could be a protein shake and a piece of fruit, some granola. It could be a yogurt and some granola. If you have an opportunity in between any of your workouts midday where you do have a little bit longer of a break, I would recommend trying to get in some type of a solid food meal, still keeping it somewhat easily digested. But this could be as simple as like, a turkey sandwich and some fruit, peanut butter and jelly and some fruit. Chicken and rice, something that's a little bit easier to digest, but gives you a little bit more calories, a little bit more substance. And that will really help you in terms of, obviously, feeling good for the second half of your day. Obviously, throughout the day, you are staying plenty hydrated. And then most importantly is after the competition. If you have a multiple day competition, your dinner really matters. So I want to make sure that you're having a really good dinner. This is where you're going to get more of your veggies in, your fats in, but plenty of protein and having an actual real meal. I would honestly suggest for most of you guys with multiple day competitions, again, you stick with foods that you're familiar with. I typically don't like to eat out in between competitions because I don't want to risk getting food poisoning or eating something that doesn't sit well in my stomach. So making sure that you pack food and bring food for yourself for after the competition if you have a second day. If you don't have a second day, you can go out. Obviously, everybody loves to celebrate a little bit of their hard work after the competition. Totally fine to go out and enjoy yourself a little bit. I do recommend keeping alcohol intake down because that can impact recovery and in a very negative way because of its effect on the metabolism. In fact, and the effect of the central nervous system, it can actually make you more injury prone going into your training the following week. Definitely does slow down recovery. So making sure that you're getting in plenty of carbohydrates, plenty of healthy fats, plenty of proteins. And then the next day also really getting in, really into that, like I said, the day of competition doesn't matter as much as the days leading up and the days beyond. So making sure the next day that you're really focusing on getting in enough calories, recovering from your competition and all of that kinds of stuff. So the main thing that I want you guys to hear out of this episode, I know it was kind of a lot, is changing your nutrition on game day is not as important as what you're doing the weeks leading up to it. That what's more important is actually taking some time to simulate your game day nutrition and kind of figuring out what works best for you. The day or two before your competition, start to carb load a little bit, get those glycogen stores topped off, with carbs that you feel comfortable with, that you eat on a regular basis, anywhere from an extra 40 grams to 120 grams. Again, talking maybe 20 to 40 grams per event. And the day of competition, trying to get up early to have a nice breakfast because that's going to be your main meal for the day, keeping the fiber down, keeping the carbs and protein up, keeping the fats down a little bit. And then throughout that day, you're taking in some protein and carbs post-workout, and then you're taking in some more carbs pre-workout if it's been a while. Trying to get that mid-meal in if you can, but not overthinking it if you can't. It's kind of going to be a day of a lot of snacking, and that's kind of what's going to end up likely being your midday meal. And then post-workout, or post-comp day, if you've got a second day, we're really hammering more calories, more carbs, getting those glycogen levels topped back off again after they've been depleted all day, getting ready for day 2. If not, you're calling it a day. You're going to celebrate with some good food and good friends. And that's pretty much it. If you guys would like a copy of my competition fueling guide, I'm going to actually have it in the show notes for you guys just to DM me, or I'll have my email and you can just let me know that you're interested in the competition guide and I'll send it over. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you guys have any questions about competition fueling that I didn't cover today, please shoot me a message. I'd love to hear from you.